Alright, so for this video, we're going to see if Jeremy Meeks is really attractive. And I know some of y'all are going to be surprised by the rating that y'all will see. Now, before I start, I'm going to do some face ratings for these two people. And I'm not going to do any videos on it, but I'm going to tell y'all guys right now what it is. So let's start with Bella Thorne. Bella Thorne's rating is an 8. She is 1 in 8,226 people. The percentage of people is a top 0.01%. So some of y'all probably are thinking like that is crazy, but that's what she is. All right, the second person is Corey LeRae. Corey LeRae rating is an 6.4. That is 1 in 14.7 people. And the percentage of people is a top 7 percentile. So those are the two people that I'm not going to do videos on, but I'm going to just put their ratings right here so y'all guys can see for yourselves. And yeah, so for Jeremy Meeks, his overall rating is a 6.8. How rare is that? That is 1 in 49 people. The percentage of people is 2%. Now, I will disclaimer this. This is not Jeremy Meeks in his prime. This is Jeremy Meeks 10 years after that mugshot. So I'm gonna let y'all remember this, 10 years after. So he's a little bit much older now, so he's not gonna be as attractive as he once was. So I'm gonna let y'all put that on your minds real quick. All right, so that the mugshot was 2013, now it's 2023, 10-year difference, so keep that in mind. All right, so his side facial score is a 68%. His front facial score is a 46%. His total facial harmony is a 54%. Facial dimorphism is a 5. Body fat factors is a 9.5. Miscellaneous features is an 8.5. Tier list is to the right. Tier 1 is ideal. Tier 2 is near ideal. Tier 3 is normal. Tier 4 is a slight flaw. Tier 5 is a flaw. Tier 6 is a huge flaw. And Tier 7 breaks harmony. His overall facial assessment breakdown. His best features: sharp jawline, long ramus, perfect eye spacing, prominent brow region, great facial convexity, and dominant lower third. His worst features is jaw recession. His chin doesn't protrude far enough. His midface is too compact. His jaw is too wide, receding hairline, and eyes are too narrow. These are the rarity scores of other celebrities so y'all can compare. His facial dimorphism, and these are for males because he is a male, and it's worth 20% of his overall facial attractiveness. So I gave him a check on dominant lower third, brow ridge inclination, nasal frontal angle, and ramus length. His body fat factors is 100%, so he's good on there. And his miscellaneous features, I gave a check on balding, and I gave a check on forehead lines. So those are the only two flaws that he does represent. Alright, so this is the first measurement, which is the eye separation ratio. So how far set is his eyes from the tip to the width of his face? And it's 47.4%, which is perfect. His facial third is a little bit off because his lower third is a little bit too long, so he does get a tier 4 for that. Anything past, if it's 3% past 33%, that's when it starts becoming outside of what is considered to be ideal, and his is 6% outside of that, so that's why he gets a tier 4. His countful tilt is a 4 degrees, so 4 degrees is going to be a tier 2. It's not that bad, but preferably you want to be at least 5 degrees. So if this was an old picture of him or a younger picture of him, I think he would have got 5 degrees, because as you age, your countful tilt goes down because of skin degradation. His facial width to height ratio, FWHR, is 1.9, which means that he does have a pretty compact face, or just face overall. And this is also relative to the width of his face. So his features in his face is pretty compact, and this is good. His jaw frontal angle is a tier 4. The only reason why it's a tier 4 is because it is wide, so he does have a wide jaw. It might look narrow in some pictures, but you got to remember, if the camera is in the middle of his face, that's going to be the most accurate, which this is in the middle of his face, so it's going to be accurate. Alright, so the cheekbone high settiness is a tier 5. He does have low set cheekbones. It might not seem like that because his cheekbones are very protrusive, but his midface is extremely small, so that's the reason why it's very low at 64%. So these are low set cheekbones. His total facial height to width ratio is 1.39, which is not too bad. It's almost close to the ideal range. It's near to ideal, so this is not really a flaw by any means necessary. His bigonial width, he does have a wide jaw at 93%. 93% is still near to ideal, so this is not a flaw. His chin to philtrum ratio is a tier 5. Now this is a pretty big flaw. His philtrum is a little bit on the shorter end, and his chin is long. So these two do not harmonize well with each other. Preferably, you want your philtrum to be a little bit longer. And yeah, his neck width is 86%. So this is pretty close to what is considered to be ideal. If it was closer to 90%, I would have gave it to him, but for that reason, I couldn't. So, but it's still not bad though. His mouth to nose width ratio is a 1.38, so he barely gets in the the preferred area. Now, anything less than this is going to be outside, but this is perfectly fine for him. His mid-face ratio is probably one of his big flaws at 1.13, and 1.13 means that he does have an extremely compact mid-face. And a mid-face that is this compact is not ideal for a man nor for a female too. If his mid-face was just a little bit longer, this would have been completely fine. And it also, like, you know how you see the square? If this was a little bit longer in length, that would have harmonized better. So yeah, and I feel like if his philtrum was just a little bit longer, it would have harmonized better. His eyebrow settiness, so how high set is his eyebrows? It is a 2, and a 2 means that his eyebrows is very high set relative to the width of, or the length of his eyes. And this means that his eyebrows is too high set, and his eyebrows need to come down a little bit lower to give him that masculinized look. His eye spacing, one eye test, is a tier 1, and this means that he does have perfect eye spacing, which means that it needs to be one width eyes apart, and it is one width eyes apart in between both eyes, which is perfect. His eye aspect ratio is a 4, which means that he does have extremely narrow eyes, and I've seen it from multiple pictures, so that is going to be something that's going to be off. His lower lip to upper lip ratio is a 1.6, which is perfect. Your lower lip length is supposed to be smaller than your your upper lip length is supposed to be smaller than your lower lip length, which he does present right here, and he does have a very full lower lip. His deviation from his ispolateral aliar angle to his jaw frontal angle, and the ispolateral aliar angle is the angle that you see on the top, which goes from the subnasal all the way to the outer edges of the eyes. And his is only a 1% or 1 degree difference, and 1 degree difference is perfectly fine, and that is desirable. So you want them to be literally parallel to each other. His eyebrow tilt is 9 degrees. 9 degrees is perfectly fine for a male, so this is within the ideal. It gives you a more striking appearance. His bitemporal width is a tier 1 at 85%, and 85% is perfectly fine. You don't want too much forehead exposure for a guy, and for just anybody in general. And this is at the lower end, but this is perfectly fine. His lower third proportions is 30%. 30% means that he does have a pretty good lower third proportion, and even though his philtrum is a little bit short, his lower third proportions is still perfect. His ispolateral aliar angle, so that's the angle that I was talking about for the mid face, and his is 101 degrees. 101 degrees is not too bad. It's still on the wider side because he does have wide set eyes, but you do want to have a more tighter angle. It is what is preferred, preferably. So yeah. His gonial angle is perfect at 122 degrees. 122 degrees means that he does have a very tight gonial angle, and this is very masculinizing for a male, and this is what is preferred for a male. So this is perfect. Tier 2, preferably you should have 0.55. He only has 0.5. And this means that he is slightly under, and if he did have a more projected nose, this would have been perfect, but it's just slightly under. So yeah, it might not seem like it, but it is. His nasal width to height ratio, so this determines, or what's a height projection, I mean, this determines the length of the nose, so the actual length of the nose, so how lengthy is his nose. And this also can affect the ipsilateral alier angle as well. So the side measurements can affect the front measurements as well. And his is 0.87. 0.87 is perfectly fine. It's at the higher end of it, but he does have a very lengthy nose, so this is perfect. His rictus elan, so I'm gonna say it right now, he did fail a lot of these lip measurements. So the rictus elan goes from the tip of the nose down to the chin, and preferably you want your bottom lip to be behind the line, and his bottom lip is actually touching the line, so that's why he gets a tier 3. The H line goes from the tip of the upper lip down to the chin, and your bottom lip is actually not supposed to touch the line, or if it touched the line, barely touching the line, and his bottom lip passes the line, so that's why he gets a tier 3. The S line goes from the middle of the nose down to the chin, and your bottom lip and your upper lip is supposed to touch the line. His upper lip touches the line barely, but his bottom lip passes the line, so his bottom lip is the reason why these lip measurements are failing. Now, like I said before, with the mental labial angle, the lip is actually doing majority of the work, but the chin is doing none of the work because his chin is not protrusive enough, like I said before. So if his chin was more protrusive, these measurements would be more better. And the bursal line is the last lip measurement, and it goes from the subnasal down to the chin, and his upper lip and his lower lip are the same length. Now your upper lip is supposed to be a little bit longer than your lower lip once it's past that line, so that's why he gets a tier 2. So it's kind of like in between, but your upper lip is supposed to be more longer than your lower lip once it's past that line, which it is not. His nasal mental angle, sorry about that, is 129 degrees, and this determines the relationship between the nose and the chin, and also takes in the facial convexity as well into prospect. So he does have good facial convexity, and he does have a good relationship between his nose and his chin, like we saw before with the nasal facial angle. So I know that this measurement is going to be perfect. His gonial to mouth relationship, so the gonian bone is this part right here where the two vectors meet from the ramus and the mandible, and this gonial bone is supposed to be below the mouth line, and this determines if you have an adequate sized jaw for your face, which he does have because the gonial bone is below the mouth, so that is perfect. Does he have any recession relative to the Frankfurt plane angle? Now this is another problem right here. So this is the chin. Now if his chin was more protrusive, this would have been perfect because it would have lined up to the nasion, and preferably you want it to be past the brow region as well, but his brow is really protrusive, so I don't know if that's possible. Now his chin is way below this. It's not even close. It might not seem like it, but it's really not close, so that's why I gave him moderate for chin or jaw recession. Now really it's just chin recession because he does have a long mandible. Now if his chin was a little bit more protrusive, this would have been perfect, but since his chin is very flat, this is not going to be ideal at all. His brow ridge inclination is 20 degrees. 20 degrees is perfectly fine. It's not too Neanderthalic or anything like that. It might seem like he does have a very inclined brow ridge, but it's only because of his brow bossing that it does give it that illusion. His nasal tip angle is 123 degrees. 123 degrees means that he does have a very good nasal tip. Now, it does seem like it's very pointy. Like his nasal tip looks very pointy. I'm kind of surprised that it's not anything lower than this. But anyway, he does have somewhat of a rounded nasal tip, but it's not too rounded to where you can say that this is a flaw by any means necessary. So this is perfectly fine for a male, and this is great. So I'm gonna go to the last two measurements. So these are one of the ways that I can tell that he does have a recessed chin or a lack of chin protrusion. And this measurement is the lower lip to submental plane angle. Now what this measurement takes into account is, does he have any submental fat underneath the jaw or chin area, which I say he does not have. Now what makes this measurement outside of what this ideal range is, because it's supposed to be between 90 to 110 degrees, and this is 116 degrees, which means that it is slightly off. Now, the reason why it is off is because of this line being inclined back very far. Now, if this line was straighter, this degree or this angle right here would have been within this ideal range right here between 190 to 110. Now, if the chin was right over here, a little bit closer to the bottom lip, then this angle would be more tighter. So for that reason, this is one of the reasons why this measurement right here can indicate that he does have chin recession. So yeah, and not jaw recession, just chin recession in general. Now, the inferior third of his face / lower third of the facial proportion. So this is the last one, and these two measurements that I'm doing at the end are not counted towards his facial attractiveness. This is 44%, and 44% or 0.44, whatever you want to call it, is still within the ideal range. So his lower third is pretty much good, even though his chin to foot chin ratio is kind of off. His lower third in general is perfect. All right, so if you want me to rate your face, make sure to I will have my email and my IG down in the description. Make sure to DM me, and within 24 to 48 hours after giving you the instructions on what to do, you should be able to get your face rating. And a lot of people are scared. Don't be scared or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all guys what y'all are if you're curious about it. Yeah. So I'm out. Peace.